Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you start a quiet reading. Hello and good evening and welcome to another reading of 1001 Nights. I know our viewers are spread all over the world, so this message goes out to everyone, but especially to the people in Austria. This morning I wanted to hop on my bike and ride because it gives me great joy. The weather is wonderful. It's a spring week, I could say. And when I went downstairs, it was still locked. However, it was abused severely by a person or several people. I wanted to hop on the bike and realized that it's not moving because someone so violently hit against my bike that the spokes were misplaced, everything was all over the place, and it was clearly vandalism. I don't have harsh enemies as far as I know like that. And I feel bad for my bike, and I feel also bad for my neighbor who is running a bar downstairs, and he's been shut for nearly a year, making almost no money, basically no money at all since it's closed. And these people also went over to his bar, and outside he has put these wonderful plants, and they ripped out the plants, including the roots, and just tossed them on the ground and stomped on it. So the vandalism has started in Vienna, which is a bit concerning and sad. It is a very peaceful and rather safe city compared to other big cities in the world. So if you live in Vienna, please don't leave your property outside. Be safe, and always remember that one can replace things. That was the wisdom of the day. And the morning of my bike. Oh no, hold on. Oh goodness, where were we? So I stopped reading last night. Oh my goodness, I don't remember where this. Well, this is embarrassing. Hold on. 76, 77. Well, let's give it a shot, shall we? Oh, let me sit quite more comfortably. Excuse me. This is my favorite reading position. All right. Enjoy the reading. Now, when it was the 376th night, she said, "It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that the eunuch who came forth from the castle, where Rose in Hood was confined, told uns Al-Wujud all his tale, and said, the raiders who captured me cut off my yard and sold me for a castrato, and this is how I came to be in such case." And after saluting him and wishing him long life, the eunuch carried him into the courtyard of the castle, where he saw a great tank of water surrounded by trees, on whose branches hung cages of silver with doors of gold, and therein birds were warbling and singing the praises of the requiting king. And when he came to the first cage, he looked in, and lo, a turtle dove, on seeing him, raised her voice and cried out, saying, O thou bounty fraught! Whereat he fell down, fainting, and after coming to himself, he sighed heavily and recited these couplets. O turtle dove, like me art thou distraught? Then pray the Lord and sing, O bounty fraught! Would I knew and thy moan were sign of joy, or cry of love desire in heart enwrought. And moan thou pining for a lover gone, who left thee woe begun to pine in thought. Or if, like me, hast lost thy fondest friend, and severance long desire to memory brought. O Allah, guard a faithful lover's lot, I will not leave her through my bones got rot. Then after ending his verses, he fainted again, and presently, reviving, he went on to the second cage, wherein he found a ring-dove. When it saw him, it sang out, O Eternal, I thank thee. And he groaned and recited these couplets. I heard a ring-dove chanting plaintively, I thank thee, O Eternal, for this misery. Haply, perchance, may Allah of his grace send me by this long round my love to see. Full oft she comes with honeyed lips dark red, and heaps up low upon love's ardency. Quoth I, while longing fires flame high and fierce in hard and wasting life's vitality, and tears like gouts of blood go railing down in torrents over cheeks now pale of bleed. None ever trod earth that was not born to woe, but I will patiently mine agony. So help me Allah till that happy day, when with my mistress I unite shall be. Then will I spend my good on lover wights, who are of my tribe and of the faith of me, and lose the very birds from jail set free, and change my grief for gladdest gree and key. Then he went on to the third cage, wherein he found a mockingbird, which, when it saw him, set up a song, and he recited the following couplets. Pleaseth me yon huzzah of mocking strain, like voice of lover pained by love in vain. Woe's me for lovers, how many men by nights and pine and passion low are laid, as though by stress of love they had been made mournless and sleepless by their pain and bane. When I went daft for him who conquered me, and pined for him who proved of proudest stray, my tears in streams down trickled, and I cried, these long-linked tears bind like an adamant chain. Grew concupiscence, severance long, and I lost patience, hordes, and grief waxed sovereign. If justice bide in world and me unite, with him I love and Allah fail us deign. I'll strip my clothes that he my form shall side, with parting distance grief, how poor of flight, plight. Then he went to the fourth cage, where he found a bulbul, which at sight of him began to sway to and fro, and sing its plaintive descant. And when he heard its complaint, he burst into tears and repeated these couplets. The bulbul's note, when our thorn is nigh, tells the lover from strains of strings to fly. complaineth for passion ons Al-Wujud, for pine that would being to him deny. How many a strain do we hear, whose sound softens stones and the rock can mollify, and the breeze of morning that sweetly speaks of meadows and flowered greenery, and scents and sounds in the morning tide of birds and zephyrs in fragrance vie. But I think of one of an absent friend, and tears rail like rain from a showery sky, and the flamy tongues in my breast uprise as sparks from glee that in dark air fly. Allah deign vouchsafe to a lover distraught some day the face of his dear to descry, for lovers indeed no excuse is clear, save excuse of side and excuse of eye. Then he walked on a little, and came to a goodly cage, than which was no goodlier there, and in it a culver of the forest, that is to say, a wood pigeon, the bird renowned among birds as the minstrel of love longing, with a collar of jewels about its neck, marvellous fine and fair. He considered it a while, and seeing it absently brooding in its cage, he shed tears and repeated these couplets. O culver of cups, with salams I greet, O brother of lovers who woe must weep. I love a gazelle who is slender slim, whose glances for keenness the cimeter beat. For her love are my heart and my vitals afire, and my frame consumes in love's fever heat. The sweet taste of food is unlawful for me, and forbidden is slumber, unlawfulest sweet. Endurance and solace have travelled from me, and love homes in my heart, and grief takes firm seat. How shall life deal joy when they flee my side, who are joy and gladness, and life and sprite? As soon as Al-Wujud had ended his verse, and Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day, and ceased saying her permitted say. Excuse me. Now when it was the 377th night, she said, It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that as soon as Al-Wujud had ended his verse, the wood carver awoke from its brooding and cooed a reply to his lines, and trilled with its thrilling notes, till it all but spake with human speech, and the tongue of the case talked for it, and recited these couplets. O lover, thou bringest to thought a tide, when the strength of my youth first faded and died, and a friend of whose form I was enamoured, seductive and dight with beauty's pride, whose voice as he sat on the sandhill tree, from the nay's sweet sound turned my heart aside. A fowler snared him in net the while, or that man would leave me at large, he cried. I had hoped he might somewhat of mercy show, when a hapless lover he so espied. But Allah smite him who tore me away, in his hardness of heart from my lover's side. But my desire for him groweth more, and my heart with the fires of disjunction is fried. Allah guard a true lover who strives with love, and hath borne the torments I still abide. And seeing me bound in this cage with mind, of ruth release me my love to find. Then Al-Wujud turned to his companion, the Isbahani, and said, What palace is this? Who built it, and who abideth in it? quoth the eunuch, the vizier of a certain king built it to guard his daughter, fearing for her the accidents of time and the incidents of fortune, and lodged her herein, her and her attendants. Nor do we open it save once in every year, when their provision cometh to them. And Uns Al-Wujud said to himself, I have gained my end, though I may have long to wait. Such was his case, but as regards Rose in Hood, of a truth she took no pleasure in eating or drinking, sitting or sleeping, but her desire and passion and distraction redoubled on her, and she went wandering about the castle corners, but could find no issue, wherefore she shed tears and recited these couplets. They have cruelly taken me from him, my beloved, and made me taste anguish in prison taken. They have fired my heart with the flames of love, barred all sight of him whom to see I'm fain. In a lofty palace they prisoned me, on a mountain placed in the middle main. If they'd have me forget him, right vain's their wish, for my love is grown of a stronger strain. How can I forget him, whose face was cause of all I suffer, of all I plain? The whole of my days in sorrow spent, and in thought of him through the night I'm lain. Remembrance of him cheers my solitude, while I lorn of his presence and lone remain. Would I knew it after this all my fate, to oblige the desire of my heart will deign. When her verses were ended, she ascended to the terrace roof of the castle, after donning her richest clothes and trinkets, and throwing a necklace of jewels around her neck. Then, binding together some dresses of baalbak stuff by way of rope, she tied them to the crenels and let herself down thereby to the ground. And she fared on over wastes and waterless wilds, till she came to the shore, where she saw a fisherman plying here and there over the sea, for the wind had driven him on the island. When he saw her, he was affrighted, and pushed off again, flying from her. But she cried out and made pressing signs to him to return, versifying with these couplets. O fisherman, no care hast thou to fear. I'm but an earth-born maid in mortal sphere. I pray thee linger, and my prayer grant, and to my true unhappy tale give ear. Pity, so Allah spare thee warmest love. Say, hast thou seen him, my beloved fair? I love a lovely youth whose face excels sunlight and passes moon when clearest clear. The fawn that sees his glance is fain to cry, I am his thrall, and own himself no peer. Beauty hath written on his winsome cheek rare lines of pregnant sense for every seer. Who sights the light of love his soul is saved, who strays his infidel to hell anear. And thou in mercy show his sight all rare, thou shalt have every wish, the dearest dear. Of rubies and what likest are to them, fresh pearls and unions new, the seashells tear. My friend, thou wilt for sure grant my desire, whose heart is melted in love's hottest fire. When the fisherman heard her words, he wept and made moan and lamented. Then, recalling what had betided himself in the days of his youth, when love had the mastery over him, and longing and desire and distraction were sore upon him, and the fires of passion consumed him, replied with these couplets. What fair excuse is this my pining plight? with wasted limbs and tears unceasing blight, and eyelids open in the nightly murk, and heart like fire stick, ready fire to smite. Indeed, love burdened us in early youth, and true from false coins soon we learned aright. Then did we sell our soul on way of love, and drunk of many a well to win her sight, venturing very life to gain her grace, and make high profit, perilling a might. 'Tis love's religion whose buys with life, his lover's grace with highest gain is dight. And when he ended his verse, he moored his boat to the beach and said to her, "Embark, so may I carry thee whither thou wilt." Thereupon she embarked, and he put off with her. But they had not gone far from land before there came out a stern wind upon the boat, and drove it swiftly out of sight of shore. Now the fisherman knew not whither he went, and the strong wind blew without ceasing 3 days, when it fell by leave of Allah Almighty, and they sailed on, and ceased not sailing, till they came in sight of a city sitting upon the seashore. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day, and ceased to say her permitted say. I hope you enjoyed this one. It was full of poetry. I love it. If you like the poetry in the books, this one's got plenty of it. Tomorrow I think Joanna will be reading. It's got more poetry, and the one from yesterday has also a lot of poetry. All right, I send you much love, a peaceful night or day, wherever you are in the world. And as usual, still remember to go inwards instead of outwards. I'll see you soon. Hi, Mo and Ismail. Oh, thanks for tuning in. So good to see you. All right, I'm going to go and feed my little monsters, the cats. See you soon, guys. Much love. Bye-bye.